Alright, so today we're just going to be taking some notes from 8.3 angle relationships. Let's go ahead and label our paper, your composition notebooks. 8.3 angle relationships. Okay, so the first type of lines, an angle relationship we're going to talk about are perpendicular lines. So perpendicular lines are when two lines intersect to form 90-degree angles. So 9. Okay. So perpendicular lines might look like this. I might have a line going this way. And to label a line, you put 2 points on that line and give it any letters. For example, I might just call this line AB. And then if I have another line that's intersecting it, crossing it, and by intersecting we create 90-degree angles, we call these perpendicular lines. And for this line, let's go ahead and call this line CD. Okay. To write it, you would say line AB. So notice there's arrows at the end that indicates that it's a line that continues on both sides. Here's a symbol for perpendicular, and then the other line that intersects is CD. So line AB is perpendicular to line CD. The next set of lines is called parallel lines. Parallel lines are lines that never intersect. Okay, let's see if I can get this too. Parallel lines would look like this on a piece of paper. You have one set of lines, and let's call that line ED. And then I have another line alongside of it, and we're going to call this line, let's just call it like T and X. These lines will go on and on and on and on. But we say that they're parallel because even if they go on, they're never going to intersect. They're never going to meet each other. And to show that they are parallel, you use these symbols, little arrows. Sometimes you might see them as double arrows. It doesn't matter how many arrows you see, they just mean that these two lines are parallel. And then if you want to write that they are parallel lines, we can say that line, I'll write it over here. Line ED, right, that's this line right here, is parallel to line TX. Okay, the next set of lines that deal with angles are called adjacent angles. And adjacent angles are two angles that share a vertex and a side. A vertex is like a corner or a point where two lines meet or two rays. So for example, I might have an angle like this, and here's my vertex. And then I might have another angle that shares this side and goes this way. These two are adjacent angles. So I can label this angle 1 and angle 2, and we'll say angle 1 and angle 2 are adjacent. Basically just means that they're next to each other and they share a side and they share a vertex. We have vertical angles. Vertical angles are opposite angles formed by two intersecting lines. So for example, I have a line going this way. Let's say I have another line crossing it, intersecting it. So opposite angles, so these two lines cross each other, intersect. The vertical angles, which are opposite angles, will be right here. Be right here, this one right here, this angle, and this angle. So those two angles are vertical. You'll notice that there's also another vertical angle here, which is right here, this angle. There, that vertical angle will be right here. Okay. So it's just basically opposite angles. We call them vertical angles. Another neat thing about vertical angles though is you're going to notice that they're congruent. So this angle measurement is the same as this measurement, and this angle measurement is the same as this angle measurement. So what I'm noticing now is that whenever we see angles, there can be a lot of different relationships. So let me show that. Let's go over something on this board. I can have a line. Let's say this intersects this, like that. Okay. We just said that the angles that are next to each other, and I'm going to label this 1, 2, 3, 4. These are 4 angles. We said that angle 1 is vertical to angle 3. Angle 4 is vertical to angle 2. What else do we learn? We learned about adjacent angles. We're going to say that angle 1 is adjacent to angle 2. Angle 4 is adjacent to angle 3. Do you see any other adjacent angles? See, angle 3 is adjacent to angle 2, and angle 1 is adjacent to angle 4. From yesterday's or 2 days ago classroom activity, you're also going to notice, hey, angle 1 and angle 2 form a straight line. And with straight line, we call those supplementary angles. So you can also identify the angles by saying angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary angles. Angle 4 and angle 3 are supplementary angles. The same way angle 2 and angle 3 are supplementary, and angle 1 and angle 4 are supplementary. If you want to talk about the same angle or congruent angles, we'll say that angle 4 is congruent to angle 2. And a way to show that they're congruent is to do these little tick marks on it. So that tells me that they're congruent. And then I can also show that angle 1 is congruent with angle 3. And to show that those are different angles, I'm going to draw 2 tick marks. Okay, so now we see that these 2 angles are congruent and these 2 angles are congruent.